Wow. 5 people, 1 like. We're 4 minutes early. Hello to everybody who has not commented in the comment section. Thank you for showing up to the live. I appreciate y'all. Oh, hot motherfucker. Oh, fuck. 7 folks. Wait till we get some people in here. I know there's 7 people, 10 people now. Hey, Troy, how are you? Janie, how are you? Kenneth, how are you, buddy? I'm glad you're here with us. Hey, Jen Cox, how are you? So in the title, it was dedicated to Dude from Texas. He has been a staple in our live stream. He was here last week, actually, and had a lot of fun with everybody. Then I was informed Sunday in the afternoon that he passed away right after our live stream. So tonight's live is dedicated to Dude from Texas. You will be missed, my friend. Glenn, how are you? M. Kirby Poppy, how are you? What's up? Sniff it out. Adam Condon, how are you? I run with Melody. How are you tonight? William, Jen Cox, no bussin'. I'm not going to say cap. I'm just going to say no bussin'. What's up, Joe? How are you, dearie? No bussin'. Just no cap. Wait, yeah, just no bussin'. Bussin'. Fuck it. Who knows? Hey, Jess, how are you? Drag Bike 900 from Boston. That's another hardcore town. Some good 80s and 90s metal came out of there. Punk, good stuff. DB Mac, what's going on? How are you, buddy? Oh, I didn't receive it, Em. If I'd received it, I let people know that I receive them and immediately. So if you didn't get an email back, it means I didn't get it. Like I said a million times, for some reason, it takes a while before I get an email. I don't know why. I think it's Google. What's up, Snowman Dave? How are you? I'm doing well, DB Mac. I'm a little fucking hurting today, though. I had a little flare up. So I got a temperature and my body hurts. And I got the old cane out. It's because my legs hurt so bad today and yesterday. But, that's what you get when you work too hard and you got a terminal illness, right? So, do I like Joe Satriani? Hey, Dan Phoenix, how are you? Mindy Meeks, how are you? Caden, what's up, buddy? Zilla, do I like? I do, and I don't. I mean, he's a great guitar player. But I like Steve Vai. I don't know. He's good. I can't take something away from him. He's a fucking amazing guitar player. So, no, I don't try Kratom. I was addicted to opiates for 30 years. So I don't. Wait a second. Steve Quayle posted one of my videos on his channel. Wow. I'm getting recognition now. Holy shit. Stephen Quayle is like fucking, you know what? I have something in this book that I was going to share with you guys tonight. I did not know that. That is amazing. He is, wow. Thank you for Jim Bob. Thank you for telling me that. That really, like, wow. Amazing. We hit 80,000 today. How about that? 80,000 subs. I couldn't believe it. We started the year off with like his website linked to your video. No shit. Wow, that's amazing. We started the year off with 60,000. We've got 20,000 subs so far. That's the most ever. And it's all because of you guys. So thank you. Can Bigfoot kill Dogman? William Menendez, do you realize you ask the same question every week? Are you a bot? No, I'm just kidding. I know you're not. Yes. Bigfoot definitely can mash a Dogman. Not as quickly, but 59th. They're members. Subs are different than members. Completely different. So like you're a sub and Aramik gets you a membership. He didn't do it. He bought memberships for people to give them memberships to help the channel. Totally different thing. Zilla, I don't know. I don't know how to become a member of my channel. I think there's a link in the description, if I'm not mistaken. Other than that, maybe one of my mods can help you. I don't know. Related, but not even related, not even close. Subs are totally different. The reason my channel is growing the way it is because YouTube's pushing my channel now. So that's awesome. Drive-by friending. That's funny. What's up, Jim Baker? How are you? You know what? 555. That's a good question. I had a subscriber out of Alabama, and long before Victor was even on the show, that said he had talked about a Dogman, and I thought it was a Dogman, but it was clearly a werewolf because it didn't have a tail, and it was able to speak to him. So maybe not. It probably depends on how it feels about the person that is there. I don't know. I'm not an expert, just a thought idea. What's up, Redacted? How are you, buddy? Redacted, I didn't answer your email earlier. I apologize, but yes, do the bear costume. All right, before we get into this, I want to take my temp just to see, because I'm gonna do it at the beginning and then I'm gonna do it at the end. I'm gonna try to get it higher just by getting fucking stoked up. Thank you, Steph. I appreciate you. Okay, not very high. 100.4. Not bad. Web Surfer, thank you. But that beeping is fucking annoying. Holy cow. Yeah, so I've got a stack of experiences. I've got some lot lizard stories, and crazy enough, I did not know, but Jim Bob shared with me. I actually pulled out my Stephen Quayle book, one of them. I have about, I don't know, 6 or 7, courtesy of Liz Sisney. I wanted to share something in there with you all. So, yeah. What's going on, Firehorse? How are you? So I got an email today, and it was funny. And I'm not making fun of the person because the person is a subscriber, and they come into the live stream quite a bit. I'm just not going to mention their name, but the person completely misunderstood me, and I want to clarify it in case anybody ever did misunderstand me. So when I talk about the addiction thing and the mental illness, which I have for like 3 or 4 years now, I didn't say, and I've never said that all accounts in all experiences, people have addiction. What I said was 85% of people that I have spoken to usually have an addiction or mental illness. And when it comes to these attacks, Brenda Hamilton, Tony Aarons, Amber Miller, Christopher Whiteley, and Corey Godsey, it's not even that high. It's only when they have a criminal record. Like, they couldn't say anything about Brenda Hamilton to make her look like a bad person, because obviously she wasn't. She was a school teacher. But if I got attacked, they would be like, Jeff Nadolny, 8 years sober, fucking scumbag YouTuber, relapsed, got bit in the asshole by a Dogman, had traffic ticket, bad guy. That's what they'd say about me. But it's not that. I never said it was 100%. I said 85% of the people that I've ever spoken to. And that goes for paranormal as well. And I think that it's because as addicts or with people suffering from mental illness, I think that the evil or whatever it is attracted to the negative that we put out. I don't think that, I think even after, like, I've had a couple of weird things happen sober, and I think they can still sense the addiction, the weakness. And I'm not saying people that are addicts are weak. I'm saying, like, there's just something different than people who have fought with addiction than someone who hasn't. What's up, May Brown? How are you? Kakalina, how are you, dearie? I don't know. Mia Brown. I think that's how you say your name. Ban Jen. No one's getting banned. You might have. Well, Mike, I've really thought about it, and it's just something that, it's one of those. What's up, J-Dad? It's one of those things that I've literally thought about going through all of the accounts and such. So I don't know. It's just a theory, and theories. Hardith, how are you? Hardith, see you. I see you, Hardith. Bonjour. What's going on, George Coker? How are you, buddy? Oh, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you. I do. I appreciate all you guys. No, I don't know. I don't know Jen Cox, but she just said hi to everybody. So that's why I said no one's getting banned. Yeah, I will. It's 100.4. So it's not up there yet. I'm sweating like a mother, though. That's why I'm wearing a hat. That and my hair looks like I have an afro today. Puma Pete, what's going on? How are you, buddy? Oh my God, Aramic. Blessings, my brother. Blessings. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I really, really do. Wow, you are amazing. That's even crazy. I just want to say out to Jim Bob, too, that I had actually thought about contacting Stephen Quayle this week and just talking to him about a couple of things. And I couldn't believe when you just said that. Like, I'm fucking shocked. It's amazing. Let's start the night off right. Speaking of paranormal, amazing, based on true events movie that just came out called Deliverance, and it's on Netflix. It's in the lines of The Conjuring house. I'd like to actually go to the property where the house was. Zach Bagans or whatever, Saggins, he bought the house. It's in Ohio, Indiana, and Gary, Indiana. He bought the house. He stayed there, and he said that he went blind being there. I don't know how much of that I believe because he wore glasses before. Now they're just a little thicker. But if you get a chance to watch it, it's called Deliverance, and it's based on a true story. It's amazing. Glenn Close is in it. I was shocked. Glenn Close. I was like, whoa. No, no, rockin' steady. Not that you got a purty mouth. Not that one. Not that one. Yes. Yes. Who's your nurse? Yes, it is. It's an amazing movie. I loved the TV or the Zach Baggins show, Demon House or movie or whatever. Um, and I actually was talking to my daughter and her boyfriend, and I was like, Belle and I had seen the movie. We watch all those kind of stuff together. Like she went to the Conjuring house with me, so she's just um, right there with me. And I go, if you really want like to get the total like feeling of it, watch the Zach Baggins documentary movie first, and then watch the movie, and it'll just. Hey, Chrissy, how are you? I'm doing well, thank you. G.I. Joe, we will fight for freedom. Did you like it, Kakalina? Missy, imagine so. I don't know. I was upset when I went there because I wanted to meet Corey, the original owner, the guy from Maine. And then I realized that it was bought by some real estate tycoon lady from Massachusetts that paid like $3 million for a house so she could make her money back and then some. Um, but I got to meet him at Ed and Lorraine Warren's museum thing that I had gone to a couple of years ago. So it was cool. It was good. Yeah, it was a great movie, Kakalina. I'm glad that you got to see it. It's good. Hey, Frank Morris, how are you, buddy? Da, da, da. Banner, what's going on, buddy? Well, thank you, Truth in Christ. I appreciate you. Nicholas Carroll, how are you, my friend? All right. So once again, now that we got a lot of people in, dude from Texas passed away right after last week's live stream. I found out Sunday afternoon, and I was like crushed because we had all talked to him during last week's live stream. And I was like, no, like crazy. What's up, Mr. Sharp? How are you? Oh, all right. So that's why it's dedicated to him. Let's keep him in our prayers. Janice Morrow, how are you? It might not have been a skinwalker because, in Colorado, I don't know how much Navajo land is there. But if you think about the Dulce projects and they talk about that bipedal hairy cryptid that was found in one of the, Phil Schneider was talking about it, that it was huge, clawed like hands, huge, and it mimicked babies. Could have been something like that. But I don't know. I wasn't there. It's either way. I'm glad that he's okay. It's fucking scary either way you look at it. All right, here we go. When I was a kid, maybe 8 or so, my brother and our parents traveled from Mississippi to California. My aunt and uncle came as well, us and a car, and them in the RV. We stopped somewhere, maybe in west central Texas, for the night, and we all slept in the RV. Sometime in the middle of the night, everyone was sleeping, and I awoke feeling strange. I sat up and looked out the window and saw, I really don't know what I saw, what appeared to be a man walking bipedally, men bipedally, but they had fur and looked similar to wolves. As a late teen, I lived in Lincoln County, Mississippi. I went to a friend's for the weekend who lived way out of town down a gravel road with 2 houses and an old still that belonged to my friend's family. So, of course, around midnight, we snuck out and walked to that still, about a half a mile away. Now, we were scared we'd get caught, so we didn't stay long at all. definitely not long enough for alcohol to cloud our judgment. On the way back, we got maybe 20 yards from her driveway. One side of the road was heavily wooded, and the other had scattered trees and high grass. We heard something moving in the grass and almost simultaneously stopped, turned the direction. Next was a growl that scared me worse than I had ever been, and I have not felt like that since. We both took off running, not daring to look back because we could hear it. We made it inside and never said a word to each other till the next day. We just sat staring at each other. My brother-in-law and his wife lived next door to us. There's probably 200 yards between our houses and the slim wood line that we cleared a small trail through to get back and forth. At the time, my son was 10. He and I rode over on our four-wheeler for something and returned home shortly after. I pulled into the carport at the back of the house. My son hopped off the four-wheeler first and said, "Mom, what is that?" pointing toward the wood line we had just come through. When I turned, there was something very tall with hair over its entire body walking through the wood line. It kind of moved slow, but very smooth like. I remember thinking that it looked almost like it was floating. It moved so smoothly, but it was walking. I could clearly see that. We got my brother-in-law and all of us drove to the back of the property, but found nothing. This one didn't scare me as much as the others. It amazed me more because it was like I knew it. Not many believe this, but it was my experiences. Andy, how are you, my friend? Are you doing well? I'm glad that you're here with us. MK, please, I wasn't trying to be funny, though. Please try, if you could, to send me an email again, though, please. I really want to hear it. And if I did get it, I would respond immediately. Whew, I'm sweating a storm up right now. Hippie girl, how are you? Yeah, I'm not feeling great. People send them to me, Jim Bob. I've been doing this. I've been researching for like 30 years since I had my first encounter, my only encounter in 94. I started the channel 8 years ago. Good, Andy. I'm glad that you're here with us. I really am. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I hope you had family with you. Craigers, what's going on? Ricardo, how are you, buddy? Yeah, I miss Sandhoff too. Well, thank you, hippie. I appreciate that. Right on, brother. Right on. Neck, I'm glad that you're here with us too. I took some Advil. Who's your nurse? I don't have Tylenol here. Drink Pepsi. Coke is woke. I've drank Coke all my life, so I don't care if it's woke or not. It's my favorite beverage. I hate Pepsi. Pepsi tastes like what I imagine donkey piss would taste like. So I do not put that anywhere near my mouth. Unless maybe it tastes like lot lizard juice. La 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 la. Mm-hmm. I think it's that time, isn't it? What do you say, DB Mac? Is it that time? $20 is $20. That was for DB Mac and Aramik. That's the official lot lizard call. You know what's weird is I noticed I had to go to I had to go somewhere today. The cop wasn't there. The cop is not there at all today. So weird. This is an interesting experience. I was a counselor at a high school in Las Vegas, Nevada, several years ago. One day, a principal brought me two men in three-piece suits and a student to my office and asked me to register him. I will leave out some details, but as I looked at the student, I saw that the pupils of his eyes were almost cat-like. Other than that, he was totally normal looking. The two men looked around my office and appeared not to notice my reaction. I asked the boy his name, and he gave me his first name. I began filling out the forms, and one of the men said they would have to come back because they are late. They left, and I heard no more about it. I told the principal that the registration had not been completed, and he merely nodded, and there was no more discussion. I often think about this. When later spoken, he elaborated. The strange thing is that it was never spoken of, and I didn't mention it to anyone at the school. But I did tell my family. I'd been following information at the time about supposed aliens in Area 51 and just assumed that they were testing responses to the boy's eyes. He wouldn't have lasted a minute in a regular class, and I'm not sure why I didn't say anything to the men about it. As I said, they stood and looked around the office, not appearing to notice my response. Looking at the boy gave me a little shock, but I assumed they were from the base testing reactions. I thought later that this time he could probably wear contacts that would disguise his eyes. As I said, I was reading and following information at the time about aliens in Area 51 and probably took more in stride than someone might have. I have read about others who have experienced and were surprised that they just never mentioned it or discussed it again. As a counselor, I also was trying not to hurt him by commenting on his eyes. Aramik, thank you so much, brother. Wow. I've got a winged cryptid experience for Aramik, and I know he loves those. Those are his ones that he loves. Because Aramik loves the Mothman. He is a firm believer that the Mothman exists, and he has come to terms with his love for the Mothman. Thank you. Here it is, right on top, my friend. Right on top. And it is actually quite a long one. That's what she said. Bobby Schutz, how are you tonight, dear? Aramik is very generous, and I appreciate him. I really do. I remember like a year ago when Aramik and me and Aramik had a back and forth about the Mothman for like fucking 3 live streams. And like I would get so mad at him. And then one night he's like, I'm drunk. And I'm just like, fuck it. I'm like, I'm just going to leave it be. But now I love him to pieces. He's just part of the family now. Do you remember that, Aramik? Probably. You're absolutely right, San Francisco. Bay Waste. You're absolutely right. That would be an experience. I don't think of it as, because I don't know. It was, it was filmed. So yeah, I guess it would be an experience. It was fucking scary though. Definitely scary. All right. This one is dedicated to Aramik and just Aramik alone. It was 2017. It was winter. I live in British Columbia along the coast. I think there was a bit of snow on the ground and the sun had just set. So it was not completely dark out yet, but not light either. My sister and her boyfriend and I and my boyfriend were in the backyard. I think we had just went outside briefly to run around in the snow, since where we live, it's actually a rare occurrence. My sister all of a sudden freezes and says she sees something or someone behind a tree. She then walks over to it and she sees it disappear. Freaked out, she wanted to go back inside, so we all went with her. When inside, she told us what she saw. She said it was a large, black, winged creature still behind the tree, looking in our direction. Apparently, it was sitting with its wings down, covering its body, kind of hunched. Then, when she got closer, she saw it turn the other way, covering its face with its wing, so it was not facing her anymore. It moved further away behind the tree, and once she was close enough to see it, it was gone. None of us believed her. We all told her it was probably a raven or a herring or a shadow. But she was sure she saw something huge with wings, and we let it go. But she was clearly freaked out. Fast forward the next Saturday, my boyfriend and I, my sister and her boyfriend, same people as before, we're all in my bedroom, which is the master bedroom of the house. And we have these French doors that open up onto the sun deck and look out into the backyard. We were just about to smoke some weed together when my boyfriend opened the door to the sun deck and looked up past our backyard to see this massive bird-like creature leaving a branch in the tree. He said, "Holy shit, that eagle is huge." I looked up just in time to see it leave and fly for like a couple of seconds before it disappeared behind more trees. But it was bigger than any eagle I had ever seen for sure. It wasn't in the tree in our backyard, but we have this embankment that goes up to these apartments that are next to us. And the tree we saw the thing fly off was up there. So it really wasn't that clear, but we have eagles around us often, and I have never seen one that size. It looked like its wingspan was almost 14 feet. It was completely black. My sister and her boyfriend just missed it by a second. They actually saw the branch bounce up and down. I said it looked like a human with wings, and my sister freaked out and reminded us of last week, the thing that she saw in the backyard. All of us had forgotten about it until she had just mentioned it. Now I actually believe her. My boyfriend said it did look like a human with wings, but he doesn't believe in stuff like that. Plus, on top of this, we had a dog that passed away in January, but she would sleep on the sun deck if it was warm enough for her. And often we could hear her growling at something in the backyard and pacing back and forth. Could have been a deer in the backyard or a raccoon, but my dog is uninterested in deer or raccoon at her age. Anyway, that was my experience. Thanks. Oh. Donna Harmon, how are you? Joe Smith, how are you? John Wayne in here? Brandon Stillwell, what's going on, my friend? How are you? Rando! Motorboat. Yes, Motorboat. It was based on the chips. It's not a database. I don't know. I've got a map downstairs with map pins that I am pinning. Tyler Marshall, how are you, dearie? I've got a map that I'm pinning. What I'm doing is I'm pinning in white attacks that, like Brenda Hamilton, Tony Aarons, Amber Miller, and then in red I'm pinning encounters that have been sent to me. I'm going to take a look at missing people on a different map along in national parks and also in the watershed areas, because I don't know if you guys remember when Dark Waters and I talked about watersheds, and it seems like a lot of sightings are in these watershed regions, and quite interesting. DL, how are you, my friend? Oh, shit. Is it getting cold where you live yet? It's about 54 right now, so it's not cold yet. I'm hoping I feel better tomorrow because I want to go kayaking tomorrow. I haven't gone kayaking in a while, so I just want to get my ass out in the wilderness. And then I got to get up to where Tom Mezek disappeared too. My cellman got super hot last week and died. Listen, M. Kirby, please try and send an email to me. And I'll respond when I get it, saying I got it, okay? If you could. Because I really want to know. You got me curious now. How about some reptilian experiences? One night I was outside and walking around my farm where I live alone when I saw a series of lights moving across the sky. At first I thought nothing of it, but then one of the lights stopped moving and something dropped from it, like a pod or something. I freaked out and ran to my house and locked the door. Being a woman of 35, I am easily spooked. The next morning, I woke up with a figure sitting at the foot of my bed. The figure was reptilian, like a lizard or something. It spoke English, but had a deep hiss to its voice. It told me this: I mean you no harm, wormling. I only seek to explore your world in its life forms. I am only a male scout, and I am looking for samples. I asked, how are you talking to me, and where did you come from? His reply: you only hear the tongue you understand, but I can't say too much. May I take a sample of your hair? I replied, I guess, but where did you come from, and what are you? He went over to me, put his hand on my head. It felt very cold and scaly. He then plucked a strand of hair from my head and put it in some sort of cylinder. After, he told me, thank you, my overlord will be pleased. Then he just vanished. My skin turned numb when he touched me, and I had a cold ever since. I don't know how to feel about this experience. I did not feel threatened, but rather curious. The reptilian was a green color, standing maybe 6 feet, looked muscular. He wore an all black kind of uniform up to his neck. His face had a snout like a normal lizard, and his eyes were large and purple. What was this thing, and what does it have anything to do with the lights that I seen the night before? Will he or any of his kind ever come back? Well, I hope not. Maybe he wants a little sample. He wants to give you a little sample of his scaly little rant rant. Oh. What's up, Stacy Lockett? How are you tonight, dear? Oh. Andy, I hope that you come back. All right, cool. I will let you know when it gets, if I do get it. I definitely will. Sao Paulo, Brazil. The witness, who for the past 2 or 3 months had been followed by 3 strange men wearing black suits, was standing in front of his house one night when a car drove up and a door opened. The witness apparently lost his will and was compelled to enter the vehicle. Inside, the same strange men he had been trying to hide from met him. They drove around for a while until they reached a wooded area outside of the city. They stopped the car near a large hovering object that was encircled by a luminous ring. The witness and the 3 men, when walking underneath the object, were hit by a beam of light, when he suddenly found himself inside of that object. Sitting on a chair, suddenly handles appeared from the chair to secure his wrists, and an iron bar pressed his forehead backward, while another gadget held his neck. The 3 men then appeared and suddenly seemed to shed their skin or bodies and transformed themselves into green, scaly, reptilian-like creatures with very strange kind of heart-shaped heads. The beings interrogated the witness and spoke of an upcoming global events. At one point, a door in the room was opened, and he was able to see human corpses hanging by their feet from hooks on the wall. Everything went blank after, and his next conscious memory was standing next to a theater by his home. Andy, you're back. 5 rings. We kicked ass tonight. I think it was like 3-7, right, buddy? What's up, Charlotte Knight? How are you? Oh. Yeah, I'm sick, rock and steady. I am sick. John Sumner, how are you, buddy? Well, Shannon Brown, welcome to the live stream. I'm glad that you're here with us. Andy Davis, kids fight over dumb shit, don't they? Oh, God. I'm just glad my daughters are over that age thing where they don't fight with each other anymore. Because, like, being a single dad for 6 years was just during the prime hell era. 7-2. I just had a little flare up of my illness. It happens when I get stressed or just overworked. I'm gonna figure out how to do the Randonautica with you guys, and we'll figure it out and do something. I really want to do some rando with you guys and have some fun. Pigman with a flamethrower. Oh shit, he's gonna have his own pig roast, Caden, and we're all invited. You ever been to a pig roast? Pig roasts are the best. Whew. Thank you, Brandy C. Appreciate you. Aramik, holy shit, man. Yeah, if your daughter's gonna be a teen soon, my one daughter's gonna be 17 in November. Isabel's gonna be 17 in November, and Abigail is gonna be, holy shit. Wow. Abby's gonna be 20 in March. Wow. Wow. Kids grow up too fast, you know? I am a little sickened by that, George. Yes. I'm not yelling. I'm not yelling out, but I'm just opening the door. No, John, I have a terminal illness that you're quite aware of. You've been a sub for a long time. That's kind of douchey to say, you prick. I'm just kidding. John Sumner, I've got to bring it back up here. He found there's a Bigfoot amusement park around where he lives, and I still have the brochure that he sent me, and it has like all sorts of fucking crazy like Bigfoot oriented rides. Do you remember that, Sumner? Oh. DB Mac, no, I'm not powder, so I'm not sensitive to solar activity. You guys remember Powder? Best movie ever. What is with these Black Hawk helicopters and aliens? I think it's like the monitoring. So, in 1940s and 50s, Joe Smith, when the packs were made, and they said, we'll give you this technology, allow us to kidnap X amount of men, women, and children, especially women and children, and they really fucked us on the deal. They did a lot worse than we did to them. We didn't really do much to them. But I think that's a way of us monitoring them to where we can make sure, that, I don't know, it's probably one of the fastest helicopters that we have. I'm not really sure. 34, 28, 27, and 18. Holy shiznits. And 1, 3, and 2. Wait a second. J-Dad, you have a child that is 21, and then you had 2 more? Like, after that stage is, like, done? What is wrong with you? That is scary. I would never want to go through that again. Ever. Even though I love my kids, and I miss that. Like, I'll still, like, Belle and me will be doing something, and I'll say something, and I'll be like, and you're 13, so what the fuck are you thinking? And she's like, Dad, I'm going to be 17 this year. And I'm like, well, you're 13 still. I'm like, never, shut up. Ugh. Maybe that's what I need, is some tea. Zark hunting? What is Zark hunting? What is Zark hunting? Does anyone know what Zark hunting is? No, San Francisco Bay. I don't do anything. I'm sober for 8 years. I don't do anything except vape and caffeine. No, I'm looking at a comment that viral tea, Zark haunting, Zark haunting. I don't know. YouTube is Zark haunting. All right, Viral. I'll give you a hug. This is an interesting experience. I found this. I thought of you guys when I say this all the time. I thought of you guys when I found this and I wanted to share it with you. I have an experience that has creeped me out since it happened. Some nights I'll think about it and not be able to sleep. I'll set the scene. It was summer of 2011, and I was a camp counselor at a small private college that sponsored ACT classes for high school kids. At this camp, 6 other college students and I mentored, tutored, and in a sense babysat over 50 high school students who would stay on the college campus and sleep in college dorms for 6 weeks. It was always tough, but it was rewarding. 2011 was my second year working at this ACT camp, and I had started a relationship with one of the other college students. We'd stay up every night after the high school kids went to bed and explore the campus, sneaking into the college chapel at midnight, taking walks around their small lake and forest, and spending late nights in the courtyard. I want to mention this is one of the oldest colleges in the oldest town in Arkansas. They even have a cabin built in the 1800s that's still standing. My new girlfriend told me a story around the end of June about a small lake and forest where we'd sometimes take our late night walks. She told me that back in the 80s, there was a girl who went to college who loved a boy. And he said he loved her too, but he cheated on her. And when she confronted him, he was able to convince all his friends and most of the campus to bully her. They didn't know she was some sort of Wiccan and regularly practiced witchcraft. The girl ran off into the woods by the lake after being bullied one evening and did not come back until the next morning. The day she came back, she was able to convince the boy that she had loved to follow her back to the woods the next night. He followed her into the woods until she disappeared into the darkness and got lost. When he heard growling and snarling and the noises chasing him into the clearing with strange symbols, burnt limbs on the ground, the girl's body hanging from a tree. Then the barking and snarling chased him out of the forest. And the legend still continues: if the girl brings a boyfriend in those woods and hellhounds sense he is unfaithful or his intentions are bad, they will chase him out of the forest. And this was the girl's final act of protecting other girls from unfaithful boys. Of course, we had to check it out together. She and I went out into those woods by the lake at around midnight, and from the asphalt trail circling the lake, we found a dirt trail leading into the woods. Of course, we didn't have flashlights, so we used the lights on our smartphones. We climbed down a small hill into the trees, and exactly when we walked on even ground, our smartphone lights started to flash. The flashlight was flashing on and off, and the home screen was also flashing on and off with no lock screen. I have no idea this was possible. When we rushed back up to the asphalt trail, the flashing stopped. We looked at our phones, confused. I had to climb down a second time, even though she did not want to do it again, because I needed to test that it wasn't a fluke or a coincidence. When I hit the even ground again, my phone flashed exactly the same as before. And then I climbed back out. She wanted to leave, and I agreed. I had never known smartphones to act that way before, and I have never been able to recreate it since. After years of watching ghost hunting shows, I was very familiar with the theory of ghosts and other spirits absorbing electric energy from batteries. if there is another reason, I'd love for someone to tell me. The camp ended in summer as well. The school was back in session. I went back to my state school. I was never unfaithful or anything to my girlfriend from that summer. But I discovered by Thanksgiving of 2011, after we had ended the relationship, that she had been unfaithful and her intentions were not pure. Now I know why she did not want to go back a second time. I know it's no dark figure or a cold touch, but this is my ghostly experience. Thank you for allowing me to share. Dude, that was good. I like that one. What's up, Derek Connor? How are you? Moondog Rex, how are you? I'm sorry I didn't say hi to you earlier. Beverly Jagger, how are you? Fuck. There it is. Bigfoot Fun Park. I still have that brochure, brother. It is literally hanging downstairs. Simone Hamilton, how are you, dear? Yeah, Randonautica is crazy. Me and my daughters have done it a couple different times. James doesn't do it. He talks about it, but he doesn't do it, and I can't blame him. James has like expanded to a whole different level. He really is doing amazing. I'm very proud of him, and I'm honored to be a friend of his. Yeah, the Bigfoot Fun Park is amazing. The brochure is so cool too. Jeannie Blakely, you went randonauting with your kids. That's awesome. No, not today, Firehorse. For some reason, for the first time in like a couple of years, the cop has not been out there. Has not been. All right, we gained 0.3. Go into detail on the Oklahoma. That was a couple years ago, so I really don't remember too much. I have files, like files upon files. I talked about that account on Sean Atwood's channel when he interviewed me. The lady was attacked in her, I believe, in her side yard, savagely torn apart. The upload is, if you type in like Oklahoma on the search bar in my channel, you'll be able to find it. Not really sure, Rand or Jim Bob. I guess it just like it's supposed to base off of your feelings and your sense of whatever you've got cooking on in your head. Pine Knot, did you catch anything? I hope you did. Yeah, intent and consciousness. Thank you, Jeannie. Aristocam, I will. I definitely will. I am 555. I am a half an hour north of Saratoga Springs. I am 10 minutes. No, I'm 7 minutes south of Lake George and a half an hour north of Saratoga. I got a couple friends that live in Long Island. I got a buddy that lives in the Hamptons. He's not rich. He just lives there. I don't know how, but he works down in the Double RL store. In a rural area outside of Agada, Puerto Rico, where I used to live, I saw a strange man with a greenish-hued, translucent skin that did not appear human. I was 22 years old when this happened. I'm now 45. I really think it was an alien. It could not walk that well, but a few things got my attention. It had the right hand on the left. What I mean, the fingers were backward. Where there was supposed to be a pinky, there was a thumb. It also walked with difficulty, and when it looked at its feet, I saw that they were the same as its hands, in the wrong place. The skin was translucent. It looked really weird. I didn't feel scared. I just felt calm and with the need to go where it was. When it talked to me, it was talking part with its lips and part with its mind. It asked me if I knew where Arecibo Observatory was. The Arecibo Observatory is a radio telescope in the municipality of Arecibo, Puerto Rico. It is the largest in the world. I didn't have time to answer when I saw a blue flash of light and I blacked out. I woke up sitting on the balcony of my house 2 hours later. When I saw it, the time was around 10 p.m. When I woke up, it was 1:20 a.m. I would like to be hypnotized to know what happened to me during those 2 hours of time loss. I now live in Philly, but I still have the house in Puerto Rico where it happened. That was my craziest experience. It has stuck with me all of these years. I believe it was time to find out what really happened. Yeah, definitely, Katie Horton, aliens. What's up, Jersey Nightcat? How are you, dear? Five UFO sightings. Damn. What's up, Freddie Fuck Ups? How are you, brother? I'm glad that you're doing good, Jersey. Tigger is in the living room. I'm kind of afraid of him right now because he doesn't like when I'm sick. He senses when I'm sick and he like gives me the stink eye and he'll attack me. He said it was a giant Bigfoot, I believe. I'm not really sure, Truth Quest. I always got that it was a giant Bigfoot. That's just my my sense on that one. It goes well, two-way. It goes well. 555. I would go with the 458 SOCOM, and if he can, get it right from Tony Ramore, right from Tromix lead delivery system. That's where I got mine, and it's fucking awesome. One, the bullets are cheaper. Two, you can just buy the upper, slap it on your lower of your AR-15, and it was created to shoot. I did build mine too, Nick. Tony Ramore sent me all the pieces because I did an ad for him for like a year, and then he sent me a complete upper that I had to put together. So just slap your upper on your lower of your 5.56, and it was designed to puncture a motor block in a car in the desert. So definitely something. Definitely, I think it'll stop a Dogman. But I go out with my 12 gauge. So the Bushmaster, I don't know about the Bushmaster. I like guns. I like firearms that I know I will have an accessibility to ammo if anything really happens. 458, I'm not really going to have much accessibility. Like if shit goes south and, 85% of the population kicks the bucket, and I have to go into someone's house to get ammo because I'm out of mine. I want to make sure that it's like 9mm, 4.5 ACP, 5.56, 22, 12 gauge, 308. Where was that, Charlie or Charlotte Knight? Katie Horton, it would be a shapeshifter unless it was on Navajo land, because the Yenatalushi is the skinwalker. And TikTok and creepypasta has really screwed people's heads up with that. Yenatalushi is a skinwalker, just like Ojibwe have a bear walker. It's the same thing. No, you're good. It's the same thing. It's just a shapeshifter. Like, pretty much all Native American cultures have their own version of a shapeshifter. Skinwalker is Navajo term. Bearwalker is Ojibwe. And so they all have their own term. Not saying that it doesn't shapeshift, but it would be whatever that Native American term would be. Like a Gugwi is a Micmac term for a large, small-muzzled, human-like, hairy creature. Yenatalushi. I was just reading a story about vampires, and I thought it'd be kind of in North Carolina. What's in North Carolina? Cherokee? I'll look into that. So I was reading a very interesting thing, and I shared one in Vietnam, where they talked about, some U.S. troops talked about, we not only had to fight the Viet Cong and rock apes and these reptilians, but there were vampires or vampiric creatures in the Vietnamese jungle that would use the old temples and old pyramids that are in those jungles in Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam as their like home. I just did an upload about it. It was pretty cool. Really cool. Fuck yeah, 4570. That's such an underrated gun and so unappreciated. 4570, great firearm. Whew. Fuck. Whew. So, a little quick update. I am going to, tomorrow night, we're going to figure out if we're doing an interview or how we're going to do this. But a friend of Andrew Dawson reached out to me last week. He's the gentleman that was on TikTok, and he was silenced by the Canadian FBI and CIA. It wasn't by our CIA or FBI. It was by theirs. And he's the one that seen the giant and the rocket. So he's going to talk with me. We're going to figure out how to do this. I guess he had already talked to his wife, Andrew Dawson's wife, about doing it. And she gave him a thumbs up on it, because so many people, there's like, so many people don't believe that he died. Like, and I really think there's plants. I think there are plants in the YouTube community, not here in our community, but like larger channels, that spread disinformation like the media does. And so many people believe them, because why aren't you not going to believe a channel with 6 million fucking subscribers? People automatic, he's got 6 million subscribers. Oh my God, he knows it all. So it's just like, fuck. But it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see where we go on that. I did see a back. Look up Charlotte Observer. No kidding. Huh. I believe you. I believe you, Charlotte Knight. That's crazy. Damn. I think it's something different than CISSIS. I remember when I did the upload. Uh, Hang on 1 second. Yeah, you're right. CSIS. Yep. Canadian Security Intelligence Service. If you find that video, Jim Bob, watch that because it's pretty fucking interesting. Because if you look at the mountain where Andrew Dawson was looking, it is an exact replica of the Archuleta Mesa. I put pictures, side by side pictures, in a video that I put out, and it's an exact replica, and it's straight up and down, like it's literally like a straight shot to each other. It's very interesting. Yeah, no cap. Canadians have a spy agency. They're scary motherfuckers. House guy. It was not proven fake. It was proven a hoax. So you believe the guy that talks to a goldfish? It wasn't a hoax. He's dead. His wife still makes videos about it. I found his obituary can be faked, like I said before, but I found his funeral services and such. So he's dead. It's not fake. But you can believe a guy who talks to a fish and have fun with it. Claire Harris, Dogman. Okay, so Scotland has a few different Dogman, like the lady that I had on the channel where she was talking a little bit about how the monarchy have a little summer retreat down there, and she had seen Dogman on their property. And then the lady that was killed, that was this crazy story, like Brenda Hamilton, Dr. Nancy Shaw. So the lady drives, she's driving in a remote part of Scotland, and her car dies, right? So I guess in Scotland, in the United Kingdom, they have a law that it's women first rule. So when you call 999, and it's a woman, they send help to you first. I guess that's what it said in the information that I was looking into. But she had made a call. The people were coming, and she, for some reason, chose to get out of her car instead of walking down a road like a half a mile to a town. She went into a field. And then they said badgers attacked her. She was attacked and killed by badgers. And people bought that and believed it. Yet she was torn apart, you know. But fucking badgers will fuck you up. The badgers are no joke. Yeah, but I mean, like, the media said that she was attacked by fox and badger, and that's how she was killed. But like, that makes no sense. Dude, I see a badger coming at me, I'm kicking the fuck out of that furry little motherfucker. I'm booting it like a soccer ball. Or, because I'm in the United Kingdom, like a football. All right, this one's crazy. This story is only partially a firsthand account. Events that may have led up to this point come from my friend group at the time. They were trustworthy, but I only saw this thing once. A lot of really intense encounters with the paranormal for me were in these Ozark woods, besides where my friend lived. As for the previous events, basically, I had this one friend who had many encounters and dealings with various creatures, and I learned a lot from him. The other two friends believed but not as deeply, poked hornet nests often, and just did all around stupid stuff. We found this old book on satanic witchcraft, not that in of itself is stupid, drew some signs willy-nilly, pronouncing Latin wrong, started doing drugs, experimenting cocaine, heroin, but stopped and cleaned up. But they still did stupid stuff. They wanted tangible proof of this sort of thing. They found an abandoned shack in the woods. They drew some summoning circles in red spray paint in the window. They put some blood on it and did a ritual of some sort. Nothing happened. A couple of weeks go by and they are walking through the woods and they get all panicky for no reason. Like their fight or flight kicks in overdrive and they get lost from the panic and see this thing in the treetops following them. They finally make it back home and tell another friend, the intelligent one, what happened. He thought they were just freaking out. It was probably nothing. Anyway, another week goes by, during which they tell me, and we make plans to hang out. We were outside chit-chatting, smoking cigars and enjoying the night. All of a sudden, I happen to look across to the other apartment building, and I see what looks like a massive hand gripping the roof. And I see this tail swaying, but it was giant. I asked them if they had seen it as well, and they did. We go around trying to debunk this. The trees were all down the hill and were not visible from the other side, but then I saw these bright blue eyes look at us from this massive head. We go towards where we were in case we need to bolt inside, and we can see better in the light. We keep watching, and this very muscular arm hoists up this thing on top of the roof, and it lies across it like a 15-foot muscular cat. It was dark, so it was hard to say for certain of the color, but it didn't have fur. It appeared to be gray. The head looked like it had horns, but again, it was dark. There was definitely something there, but we were not sure what it was. It then gets off of the roof. We hear it slide on the gravel down the hill and tear back off into the woods. Nothing else spectacular happened that night, and so ends my personal account. However, they told me later that the two buddies who did the so-called ritual got so freaked out, they went back to the shack, destroyed the circle with a rock, and didn't close the summoning. They refused to go hiking there anymore after they told us that they saw this 15-foot tall, skinny gargoyle-like creature with no wings. The blue eyes had no pupils. It chased after them when they tried to go into the shack. Something freaked them out because of the edgy Satanist and militant started attending evangelical Christian churches after this. The only thing I know for certain is what I saw. The rest could be complete bullshit. I researched Ozark cryptids, but couldn't find anything that matched. My more experienced friend thinks they did summon a demon and severed its way back home. And had a hold on them, so it attacked them. I don't really know what to think on this. I'd say yes, demon. Not breaking the summoning spell. Probably kept it here and really didn't do too well for themselves. Whew. Holy shit. Whew. Dude, that's a crazy story, Kimberly Flores. The dingoes ate my baby in Australia. Life and times. How are you, buddy? I'm doing well. Melissa Jones. No, I'm kind of sick. What up, my party animals? Yeah, don't play. Like, it's crazy. Like, why would people, like, let's make a summoning spell. Let's do a summoning spell in an abandoned shack, mess with something we don't know, get all coked up and on heroin, pretend we're Aleister Crowley, and fucking do everything wrong. So the demon ends up attacking our asses later on. Like, yeah, nothing bad is ever going to happen. What's good, Brian? How are you? What's up, DJ? You know why? You want to know why they did that? Because $20. It's $20. Oh. That was the Lot Lizard call. And now it's time for a Lot Lizard story. And here we go. This, my friends, is a fictional story. This is not real. This is not a creepypasta. This is funny. This is just a funny story to have fun with during our live streams. Once upon a foggy night at Route 666 truck stop, old Sam, the Hammer Henderson, rested his weary bones from another long haul. He was a veteran trucker known for his staggering collection of road stories, and even more impressive, stash of beef jerky. As he pulled into the parking lot in his big rig, the familiar neon lights flickered above, buzzing like a swarm of angry hornets. The diner was still open, filled with the smell of burnt coffee and greasy fries, a comfort for every weary traveler. But that night was different. As Sam stepped out of his truck, he noticed something moving in the shadows near the woods, edging the truck stop. It was too dark to make out any features, but Sam felt the kind of shivers creep up his spine that usually signaled trouble. Despite a body full of trucker bravado, he approached slowly, peering into the darkness. That's when he saw her. A woman draped in tattered clothing that looked like it had been clawed off by a bear. Her hair was wild and tangled, much like the foliage around her. But the most striking feature were her eyes, glowing a disturbing shade of yellow, and not a hint of humanity within. "Hey there, big trucker," she said, her voice slithering through the night air. "I'm Butterfly. I can give you a good time if you can handle it. I don't bite," and she winked. "Unless you're into that." Sam's instincts kick in. "Sure, lady, but you might want to get yourself a better wardrobe. You look like last year's roadkill." She laughed, a sound that echoed strangely through the night. But Sam couldn't help noticing that the wooden sign on the park gate said Cryptid Zone. Little did he know, she was not just any ordinary woman. She was a legendary lot lizard, known to lure truckers into a supernatural chaos. Tales of truckers who never returned, lost in the trails of her magical allure, drifting through the gossip of local diners. "How about that romp in the woods?" Butterfly cooed, swaying like a siren. Sam, feeling his trucker pride in a strange mix of fear and curiosity, decided to play along. As they stepped deeper into the shadows, he realized he had made a mistake. The forest floor pulsed with an odd energy, and ghostly whispers danced around him. "You like the wild side, don't you?" she teased. "Yeah, but not this wild," he replied, uneasy. The laughter of this unseen creature surround him. It felt like being thrown right into a horror movie. Suddenly, the ground beneath them rumbled, and a large, glowing eyes appeared in the darkness. Dozens of them. Sam sprinted back toward the truck stop, his heart pounding like a jackhammer. But Butterfly clenched onto his arm. Her grip tightened. Stay with me, big guy. You're not going anywhere. Her demeanor shifted from playful to terrifyingly intense. Sam was sure that she was not just a cryptid. She had transformed into something otherworldly. He yanked his arm free and raced back to his rig, jumped inside, locked the door. He could hear her growling in frustration outside, cursing the moon that hung above them. With desperate speed, Sam turned on the engine and put the pedal to the metal, making a swift escape from the spinning whirlpool of chaos that was haunting the truck stop. He glanced in his mirror, half expecting to see her chasing him. Her wild laughter echoed behind him. But there was only a moonlit road and the sound of his tires on the pavement. He couldn't shake the feeling that he could not outrun the magic of that place. Later, as he pulled over to a safer, well-lit rut stop, he found solace in the company of other truckers swapping tales. Did you hear about old Butterfly? One of them cackled. You'll only see her if you're brave enough or foolish enough to go into those woods. Sam chuckled nervously, realizing he was now part of the growing lore of Route 666, the cryptid truck stop and the infamous lot lizard. Next time I stop at a truck stop, he muttered to himself, I'll stick to the diner and keep my head on straight. From that night forward, Sam the Hammer Henderson had one more story to add to his repertoire, a warning to all truckers about the wild and frightening world that lurks just beyond the neon lights. Oh. Old Butterfly. She's looking for your hog, Tyler Steven. She's like, I know Tyler Steven's got a good old hog. What's up, Larry Lindman? How are you, buddy? Truckers have mud flaps and fucking lot lizards have beef flaps. Oh my God, buddy. It looks like a roast beef sandwich. What's up, Larry? How are you doing, buddy? Hey guys, cryptids and monsters, predator last day is highly biblical. Don't ask love. Okay. What's up, Doug Wilson? How are you, buddy? So, I guess, what's up, Vang? How are you? So, I guess, what's up, Ginger? How are you, brother? Jim Bob is in the chat tonight. He said that Stephen Quayle had linked one of my YouTube videos on his website. And ironically enough, I had brought this out because there was something that I wanted to share with you. And I cannot believe that Stephen Quayle even knows who I am, because he's like a whole different kind of ball game, you know, like he is what I aspire to be when I'm 60 and I've got 12 more years. So, fuck. All right. This is what I wanted to share with you. And this is from True Legends, Tales of Giants and Plumed Serpents by Stephen Quayle. The Tribe of Giants. From 1967 to 1972, universities from 7 states, including the University of New Mexico, were involved in what would become the American Indian Oral History Project, designed to provide a record of oral tradition of Native American history and anthropology facility, and graduate students interviewed a number of storytellers, taping the legends and then translating them onto English. Tape number 340, recorded in 1969, has a legend told by a Navajo storyteller, Joe Joshi, then 85. Here are some of those excerpts from that tape. There once was a gray giant people who were a little bigger than us. They were like a gorilla. They have broad nose, but they didn't have hair on them. These gray giants used to kill people, and they liked human flesh. There were mostly men, just a very few places they could find a woman with them. They were stronger than many people, so there was no hope in getting away from them. Once upon a time, there were a bunch of family that used to live on top of Haystack, a little mountain-looking place. One day, the man folk went towards Mount Taylor to look for some deer meat. While they were on their way, they saw some of the gray giants coming, and the men folk thought that the woman or the children might be outside, so they went fast as they could back to their cave. By the time they reached the cave, there was, sure enough, the women folk and children outside. While they were playing, one of the men hollered to them, "The giants are coming." It was over the hill, and then the gray giants heard the voice of his hollering, so they went as fast as they could across that little flat. Just about the time they, the Native American hunters, reached the hole, here the giants come. They, the humans, went into their hole. Way down, the gray giants found the place where the people were staying, and the giants started to dig for them. But the walls of the lava bed was too hard to dig out. The giants reach into the cave, but every time they lay their hands inside, the humans would punch it. Finally, the humans work on the giant, cutting a giant's arm off. The blood was pouring. Very soon, a giant came out with no arm, with no hand, and finally, he could hear him crying loud as a train going up the hill. And then this was the way the giants never came around again. The gray giant, when it gets a hold of you, it moves you out in places where he is going to cook you. He gets some large flat rocks and digs a hole and stands flat rocks alongside where he built the hole, and then he builds a fire. And then from that time, when the charcoal is ready to cook, he puts you in there. We could see some of the rocks that they built when they were cooking. That is what they call them, gray giant oven. This was the way it was, but these giant ovens are all over the place, from Mount Taylor, around Crown Point area, into Zuni Mountain, places like that. And there is a spring. They call it Giant Spring. It's been there for centuries, years and years. On that rock wall that they have in the canyon, there are all of these drawings. Most of them are like giant looking drawings, big hand, big face, big leg, big toes, things like that. They have carved out of the wall. There are plenty of things like this in the past year, so I think this might be a true story about the Navajo people. Something happened many years ago in the Tatachi Mountain near the Bad Boy Cave is another story of the giant we have. In this cave, there is kinds of things that show that I think it might be a true story of an old ancestor people. Many years ago, it was on top of Tuhili boarding school, right on top of the mountain. There used to be a place where they used to call a lookout. This lookout place was supposed to be a lookout for a giant. It lays on the north side of the lookout tower, the tallest big nation. They said on top of this giant rock crack, there is a crack on the rock. The man that takes care of the lookout on top, when he sees any kind of living giant coming, he builds a fire and makes smoke signals, and a smoke signal from the top of this high peak. When people see this smoke, that means danger. People used to watch that mountain many years ago because it is a sacred mountain. They sure believe there is something coming. When they see smoke, everybody hides. So, one of the reasons why I wanted to share that, one, because it's Native American, and they have talked a lot about the giants in the Southwest. But two, there were two things that caught my attention. They mentioned the train. He sounded like a train. So that means when these gray giants were out there, there was civilization. So how long ago was that? 1920s, late 1800s? And they talk about a native school, a white school for native children. So that would be the 1800s. So were these gray giants living there? Just in case. I don't know. I'd imagine there is in Croatia. I'm not really sure. Serious lead poisoning. But like, think about the Nevada Love Cave or whatever, yeah, Love Cave mountain giants. Those giants, they weren't like hundreds and thousands of years ago. There were white settlers out there at the time when the Native Americans fought those red-haired giants in Nevada. So why would it not be happening? You know? Thank you. I'm really sick, Rachel, so that's why I couldn't. My head didn't. I've done like 6 videos on Lovelock, so thank you. But it makes sense, and it only makes sense, that these things associate with the Southwest because there's a lot of dumbs there, and the alien creatures that live in those dumbs. You know what I'm saying? Okay. This is for all the people that are from Minnesota. The experience I'm going to relate to you goes back to 1975. Oh, sorry, hang on. I was like 10 years old. My grandfather was a scoutmaster, which means he trained Eagle Scouts. So he and a junior scoutmaster would take between 8 to 10 kids out in the woods for survival camping skills. I was in Boy Scouts, and I would carry my grandfather's camping gear, or in Cub Scouts, and would carry my grandfather's camping gear in a duffel bag. We hiked out into Spirit River Nature Area in Minnesota. It was about a 5-mile hike, and when we got there, we were all exhausted. The Eagle Scouts to be would take their survival gear, which consisted of a canteen of water, a knife, a flint bar, a compass. They were dispatched in several directions and ordered to walk approximately a quarter of a mile away from camp. Once gone, my granddad and the junior scoutmaster began having conversations talking about this, and that when suddenly there was a tremendous roaring scream that came from somewhere. The sound was, I don't know, penetrating somehow. It seemed to come all around us. My granddad was a World War II vet and also an all-around tough guy, but whatever this was, I could tell it scared him. Even at my young age, I knew something was unusual. Suddenly, from what seemed to be in all directions, these young Eagle Scouts to be came running back to camp, white-faced and generally freaked out. My granddad decided that we should all stay in the main camp that night, and things died down for the moment or two, just kids talking wild stories, etc. Suddenly, a shower of rocks and twigs and branches began to shower our campsite. Granddad picked up one of these old school flashlights that he had carried with him. It must have had 8 batteries in it. Read the newspaper on the moon kind of thing. and began shining it into the general forest area. The junior scoutmaster joined in with his flashlight, and we saw absolutely nothing. I do remember it being awfully quiet that night, dead quiet. At what I would imagine, maybe 2 in the morning, we all started to wake up by this guttural growl that seemed to pass through us, like the consensus of large fireworks. We did not get any sleep the rest of that night, and although it was supposed to be a 3 day camping trip, we ended the next morning. And yes, all of the Eagle Scouts were given their credits for survival camp. Looking back on it, many things have happened in my life that were weird. But the one always stays with me is this. I have no idea what it could have been. I've never heard of such a thing, such an awful sound. Thank you. I just posted. I have Claire. I have a terminal illness, and I have flare ups for it every once in a while, and that's what I'm having yesterday and today. So that's why I'm sick right now. Oh. Oh, shit. Corona Glover, dandelion tea. I don't know. I have a very rare blood disorder. There's like about less than 100,000 in America that have it. Ooh, Brian, I hope you feel better, buddy. Fevers, pain in my joints, in my muscles and such is a flare up. Just basically being tired. I will. My family, my aunt drinks dandelion tea and makes dandelion wine, and she used to eat dandelions and put it in my salads when I lived there, and I hated it. It pissed me off. I'd be like, Aunt Bonnie, why are we eating fucking flowers? You know, are you too cheap to go to the grocery mart and get fucking regular like stuff? Get these little purple flowers out of my salad. Thank you, Erica. But I will check it out. No, my aunt was nuts, dude. Like, she was a good person. No, she's not. She's an evil bitch. But she literally, like, me and my cousin Diana would just fucking ridicule this woman because she, like, I don't even know. She'd eat the weirdest things. Like, she'd make thistle tea. She'd go in her backyard and pick thistle. And I'd be like, why are you making thistle tea? Like, do you even know how to make thistle tea? I'm going to get pinchers in my throat. I'm not drinking that shit. She's a crazy woman. I'll tell you a funny story, though. So she used to smoke a peace pipe, and she would smoke in each direction and give thanks before we did a sweat lodge, right? So one night, it's myself, my aunt, my cousin Diana, and one of Diana's friends, and we're going to do a sweat lodge. And I had put the lodge together. And Diana, being my older cousin, said, I'm going to fuck with my mom tonight. And I'm like, what are you going to do? And she's like, instead of putting tobacco in the pipe, I'm going to put weed. And I'm like, what? And she goes, yeah, I'm going to put some weed in the pipe. We'll put some tobacco on top. And I'm like, that's awesome. Let's do it. So we do it. And she, of course, it's her pipe. So she lights it first. and she takes this huge, and my aunt was just this very large woman. So when she took that pipe, it looked kind of hilarious. So she was like, and she goes, something, is this weed? And my cousin started laughing, and she smoked the fucking thing. So we get in the sweat lodge, and we're sitting there, and we started, and she starts hallucinating, right? And then in the sweat lodge, she rips ass in a fucking sweat lodge. You are sealed in the sweat lodge. It's hot. It's steamy. It's like a sauna. And my aunt, who is enormous, ripped ass. Imagine how fucking loud and stinky that fart was. Her ass was as big as my desk. It was like this terrible stench. So then she gets out of the lodge after and passes out. We left her outside at the picnic table. I was worried about her, so I did check on her. I put a blanket on her, but that was my story about my aunt. And then one time we did Easter eggs, and we each had our own Easter egg that we decorate. And my aunt had these little silver egg things. So she put the egg on this little silver thing. She always tried to be fancy. And you put your egg on it and you tap it with the spoon, right? So we don't hard boil my aunt's egg. And she dyes it and fucking paints it, and it's beautiful. And me and Di are sitting across the table from each other, and we're smiling, and she goes, and it blows up everywhere. Fucking awesome, dude. Just so awesome. Those were the days. But I couldn't believe she ripped ass in the fucking sweat lodge. She ripped fucking ass. It was just this loud, echoing, like ripple on her fat ass cheeks, just like brrr, like Homer Simpson burp is what I imagined her ass cheeks to look like. Oh. And it's my mom's sister, and my mom has a brother. So, but she doesn't refer to her as her sister. She refuses to call her sister. It is my brother's sister is what she calls her. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. She just doesn't like her. Fucking weird, right? Fuck. Hang on a second. I'm just going to grab some Advil. All right. So I saw some people are from Kentucky. I have a Kentucky experience. I'm very paranoid and need answers. I live in Kentucky. It's very backward and rural here. And although I've lived here for years, I'm still not used to the extreme amount of woods and isolated area. Coming from the beaches of Florida, things are very different here. And it's still taking me a while to adapt to my surroundings. I live in my parents' home in a rural area. Although it's next to a highway, it's not necessarily the most populated area, with 2 gas stations and a dollar store. That's it for 20 minutes in all directions. Decently rural, in my opinion. We lived on an acre of land, and about 30 yards behind our house is a large 150-acre farm belonging to a farmer. Keep in mind, we've never seen this guy before, but he does plant his crops. Anyway, enough of the basic info. For a year, we've lived up here. There's been a lot of weird shit going on. To name a few, there's been times where I've seen ghosts. I've heard random noises. And although aliens may not be considered paranormal, I swear to you, I've heard high-frequency noises and seen lights in the sky. We do live around 30 miles from Fort Knox, so It could be military, perhaps. Now, this is where the road takes a deep turn. I, as well as my family, have noticed that none of our surrounding neighbors, about six of them, is out past 9 p.m. Now, I can understand that, but I mean, there's always at least a few people out and about during the night where I came from. But there's not even a single late night party or anything. Nothing at all. These people do not come out at night. I thought that was odd at first, but I didn't pay much attention to it until recently. A few of my friends and I would occasionally get together and go out at around 1 in the morning on the back porch and smoke a joint and stargaze. Each time we would do that, the field 100 feet away would start rustling with noise, as if someone or something was running through the underbrush. Me and my friends, higher than kites, would normally laugh it off, but that was only until we heard this shrieking like noise from the area. Needless to say, we haven't done that ever since. That was a couple months ago. Ever since then, that has mentally messed me up. I constantly worried that there's some type of wolf or something over there lurking around the night, and that's just my assumption until 2 nights ago. A couple of nights ago, I was outside at 11:18 on the spot. We have a compost bin. So after I cleaned the kitchen, I took the scraps of food out and the other shit out there. It was very dark, but peaceful. I should mention now that we have a steel fence around our acre of property with the compost at the far back of the property next to the fence. The fence also has a gate on it that opens into the farmer's field. Anyway, as I made my way to the compost, a huge unnerving feeling erupted all around me. I felt like I was being watched or stalked. It was dark as hell and I couldn't see a thing. I only had enough visible light from our outside porch light. I dumped the scraps of food into the compost and heard the exact same rustling noise through the underbrush. I got ballsy. I had a feeling that there was some jackass teen or someone else trying to scare me. So I stood still for a couple of seconds in the direction of the noise. Here's where I start to panic. I took my phone out of my pocket, shook it twice to turn on the flashlight, and shined it in the direction of the noise. Nothing really to see but the brush and soybean plants, but something odd caught my eye, a reflection. I stood confused for a second and shined my light back over to where the reflection was, and holy shit, there was some maybe 4 foot tall thing crouched in the soybean, and it was looking right at me with red eyes. I can't make this shit up, man. I had tears in my eyes typing this right now. I'm not quite sure how I acted. I know I ran inside as fast as I could. And even though my asthma is horrible, that's the fastest I've ever ran. Needless to say, I came into the house, locked the door, and ran downstairs into the basement. My room has no windows, both a blessing and a curse. But there was no way in hell that monstrosity was coming into my room. I passed the hell out, woke up at about 7, missed dinner, everything else, but immediately went outside to the same spot and nothing was there. I even walked into the field to see if maybe what I saw were red berries or something, but nothing. After walking back to the house, the next door neighbor was out. I immediately called out to him. And as he came over, I asked him if he'd ever seen anything abnormal out there, to which he replies, everyone I know, including myself, goes inside before nightfall. There's tales of hellcats and night crawlers all around here. And with that, he went and put out his grill and went inside. I didn't sleep much that night. Mainly, I was talking to friends about the shit. And since most of them live near about Elizabethtown, 25 minutes away, in a decent-sized city, they have no idea WTF it was. Anyway, I'm lost for words at this point. I don't know what to do. It could have been an animal, but the thing looked nothing like any animal I had ever seen. I'm debating right now to go outside with a high beam flashlight and scan the area from my porch. But to be honest, I may shit myself this time. Please, if anyone is from Kentucky, fill me in. The biggest city close to me is Louisville, and that's about an hour away for location purposes. Thank you for letting me share. I am very freaked out right now. Later, he states this shit that's starting to get to me. I told my mom about this, and I could tell by the look in her eyes something was wrong. after I explained it to her. She said she was out on the porch one night talking to a friend when she heard some climbing over the metal fence and could hear footsteps gaining on her. She ran into the house in a span of seconds. Very strange. She couldn't see a thing, and our fence is about 5.5 feet tall. We also have a fenced in porch as well. I'm not sure what's going on, but this is not normal. On the farmer's land, about 80 feet from the edge of our land, there is a sinkhole that connects to a small cave. Right there. I haven't thought about that at all. There's literally fallen down trees and stuff that sunk into the ground when the cave opened. What if the thing lives in it? Well, there's your answer. I did some research in our county records, and apparently the land owned by the farmer used to be government property in the 60s to the 80s. That's strange. It didn't state exactly why, and I know almost all property is government owned until you buy it, but back in the 80s, it was owned by the farmer yet again and then bought out. So, Soul Brother, thank you. Thank you for the love, my friend. All that was available there for government control was not available. Like it literally was unavailable. I'll figure out a way to post a picture of the city records. Also, there was a man made a crater built somewhere out there. Also, there was a man-made crater built somewhere out there. And it used to be over 600 acres of controlled property, meaning the rest is all around. It even looks like our own house used to be part of it. This definitely bats an eye. I'm starting to wonder if there is some sort of experiment or if there is a reason for it. I definitely find it strange. My personal theory is that this creature is either a goblin, an alien, or a crawler. It looks like the Heller, or however you want to spell it, goblins that people have suggested. It also looks like an alien, but it very well looks like what people in creepypasta land call the rake. I have no idea if the rake is real or not. I just know they're called crawlers. I also believe that the sinkhole has a great deal in this situation. It does, in fact, connect to a cave, as around February, my granddad was checking the place out and walked over there and said there was a small 7-foot by 5-foot entrance. Assumptions. I will personally make sure to contact the farmer and ask him about it. The shit that gets me is that he has a normal no trespassing sign all around his property. I will try to get him, though. One thing my mom brought up was lack of animals. It's all free and clear to own animals, livestock, outside animals, etc. on our property, as my mom wanted chickens and goats, but apparently it's neighborhood rules said by 3 of our neighbors to not own animals. The strange part is that the neighbor next to us had about 6 hound dogs that they always were out during the day, but are brought inside at night. My mom has a theory that the reason there is no animals thing is the creature killed or ate the other outside animals. We have no deer around here, no ground animals like fox, raccoon, or your basic rural animals. Maybe a few birds here and there, but outside of that, nothing. Very strange. So, crawler. And he answered it himself in that. There's a sinkhole that connects to a cave, and the government used to own the farmer's property. Like, that's the fucking answer. Sunshine. Oh. Or, like Nexus said, a lot lizard. It could be a lot lizard. Yes. I don't know, Claire. My doctor just said it was probably from stress or lack of sleep because I don't sleep much anymore. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. You know what's crazy? San Francisco Bay water or wastewater ops is that you. What's up, Purpose and Grace? How are you? You just said that you were out in that area in the 90s, and I had a few subscribers that lived out that way. and he is not in that area ever. He was from the East Coast, and he talked about exact spots that are out there. So, brother, and thank you so much. Um, no, George, this was when I was younger. I was young. It was when I was still like smoking weed. I was addicted to pills, but at that time. So yeah, I was in my active addiction when we were doing the sweat lodge. Um, so this is a crazy story. So I have cousins that live in Hogansburg or the Aquasati Reservation up north, and we were doing a sweat lodge up there. Um, I'll never ever forget this. It was fucking incredible. I I was an active addict, and my aunt and uncle at the time were trying to help me stop my addiction. Um, it'd been a battle since I was like 19, and so we did a sweat lodge, right? Now, the rocks that we used in this sweat lodge were from Mount St. Helen, and it was just a beautiful winter night. It was myself, my cousin, my uncle, and one of my uncle's friends. We're in the sweat lodge. We start the ceremony, and we start the first kind of session. Um, my uncle and his friend are doing the singing and the chanting, I call it, but mainly singing. The rocks are really hot. And I remember because I thought it was the coolest thing because they were from Mount St. Helen and they were sacred. Um, so we get out and we cool off. We drink some water. There was snow on the ground. We're in shorts, no shirt. It's cold, cold. We're at Canadian border. And we go back in. Now, for the second part of the ceremony, we're sitting there and it's real hot at this point. It's really hot, hot. So I remember I'm sitting here. So the door is right here. So the lodge is a circle, right? And I'm sitting here. My cousin's sitting here, my uncle and my uncle's friend. And I remember looking at my cousin and smiling at him because we were going to the mall and watch the South Park movie. That's how long ago this was, and meet up with these girls from Canada. So I'm like smiling, like, I can't wait for this to get over. And I remember looking between my uncle and his friend, and there was this weird old guy sitting in the middle of us or in the middle of them. And I'm like, who the fuck is that? I'm like, where did he come from? Right. And the rocks were just like, this really hot, just hell hot, after they were brought in from the fire, they stayed hot forever, it seemed like. And when we got out for the next kind of session, it was three parts. Um, we're standing there and I'm looking at my cousin and I'm like, I go, dude, I'm like, where's the old guy? And I said it and my uncle heard me. And he goes, who are you talking about? And I'm like, the old guy that's in between you and your friend. And he goes, no one's in there except you, Andy, me, and my friend. And I'm like, no. And I looked in the door and there was nobody in there. What they told me was that it was probably the spirit of the rocks from Mount St. Helen. And I saw him because I was sick with my addiction and shit like that. Because I was fucked up when I was younger. It was just a weird thing that's never, ever, I've never forgotten. You know what I mean? Good night, William Menendez. They are powerful. They are Alzilla, thank you. They are very powerful. It's a if any of you get a chance to experience a sweat lodge, it's probably one of the most life-changing experiences I've ever done. I've had the opportunity to do 3 of them. No, 4, excuse me. I did one at a powwow in Spencer, Mass, which was kind of stupid. I only say that because the people that were part of it. But if you ever get a chance and you're with good people, I suggest doing it because it really is a wonderful experience if you're with people that know what they're doing and they have like, just this like it's like a sauna, but like 10 times more spiritual. And like I've never forgot that old man that was sitting there, and he didn't look at me. He was just sitting there, and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, like what the hell? What's up, Sonny? The wandering gypsy? Does the heat in my aunt's fart gas was absolutely fucking atrocious. It was atrocious. It was the worst. Roxy, if I ever am able to talk to Stephen Quayle, I will probably beg the man to come on my show and just talk to him. It would be amazing. It would be a dream come true. Once Tom Horn died, I was sad because I always wanted him on. He was a researcher, like a fucking amazing researcher. Stephen Quayle, an amazing researcher. This is part of his project. If you guys can ever get this book is amazing. God's Ghostbusters. Alan Howell, thank you so much, brother. Thank you. This book is truly amazing. A collaborative work by all of these people. Vampires, ghosts, aliens, werewolves, creatures of the night, beware. And there's Tom Horn right there. God's Ghostbuster. If you get a chance to get this book, honestly, one of the greatest books I've ever read. Really an eye opener. John Allen is a YouTuber. I like him. I think he's an amazing YouTuber, but I'm not gonna interview a YouTuber. I interview researchers or people who've had experiences. I know his experience because I heard it. But I mean, he's fucking awesome. He's one of a kind. He's probably one of the only, because I don't watch YouTube channels. I don't watch other cryptid channels or paranormal channels, but I will listen to John Allen when I go to bed. But he's not a researcher. He's a storyteller. So it wouldn't be an interview. It would just be, hey, tell me a story. Not that he's not cool. I mean, yeah, it'd be fucking awesome. But to have Stephen Quayle on would be 10 times more amazing to me. Oh. And Andy, I saw that. Yeah, congratulations on not drugging. I can't do anything. I can't drink. The second I drink, I'm going to be looking for a bottle of fucking pills because I'm a scumbag. How about a lot lizard story? You guys want a lot lizard story? No? No lot lizard story? Yep. There's one. No? Firehorse doesn't? Yes. Oh, Black Queen Jacks. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Here we go. I'll do this lot lizard story, and I will do like one or two other experiences, and then I'm gonna end the live because I'm fucking hurting right now. But I'll do a couple of more experiences after the lot lizard story because you guys are awesome. You guys make my Saturday night special. All right. The truck stop on Highway 81 was just a collection of flickering neon lights and tired asphalt, a sprawling mass of shower stalls and convenience stores designed to keep weary drivers caffeinated and fueled for their next leg of their journey. It was in this desolate place, far from the faded glow of city promises, that Jack Morton pulled his rig into his slot, his cargo trailing the sweet scent of summer peaches. He was on his way back home after months of being on the road, yearning for his wife's cooking and their worn out couch. As the night fell, the humidity thickened and the air felt electric, crackling with tension. Jack couldn't quite place it. He stepped out of his cab, stretching his legs, when he spotted her, a woman standing just beyond the reach of the neon lights. She leaned against the rusted pickup, her features obscured by the shadows, but there was something eerie about her. Perhaps it was the way she moved or the glint of something unusually bright in her eyes as they flickered toward him, like scraps of glass gleaming in the dark. "Hey there, big trucker," she called, her voice sultry yet sharp. That was not sultry. Resonating with an undertone that sent chills down Jack's spine. "You looking for some company?" He hesitated. Instinct screamed for him to turn back, but loneliness coupled with exhaustion drew him towards her like a moth to a flame. "You got a name?" he managed, taking a step closer, trying to gauge if she was real or some figment of lonely hours on the road. "Call me Lacey," she said with a smile, revealing a mouth lined with unnaturally sharp teeth. His heart raced at that sight, but before common sense could take hold, he found himself nodding, intrigued. "Want to come to my cab? I got a good radio," he suggested. The words tumbled out before he could filter them through caution. "Why not?" she grinned. Each step she took was fluid and predatory, closer to the light illuminating the battered denim shorts, and the cropped tank top barely clung to her frame. As she neared, Jake felt the air around him shift, thickening with something unwelcoming. In the confines of the cab, laughter mixed with a strange, intoxicating energy that caused Jake's pulse to quicken. But as he reached for the radio, the atmosphere grew heavy, the air vibrating with a low hum. Around him, the oppressive darkness settled like a shroud, swelling the world outside. The shadows began to gather, swirling with sentience as if they were alive. Then it happened. Lacey's laughter morphed into something deeper and more guttural, a wet sound that made the hair on the back of his neck stand up. Suddenly she lunged forward, her body shifting and possibly fast. The skin on her face shimmered, rippling like scales in the dim light, glistening with something unholy. Jack stumbled backward in horror, the reality crashing down around him. She was no woman. She was something else entirely, something forged from nightmares, with elongated limbs and gleaming yellowed teeth. Before he could scream, she was on him, her claws rendering the air with a feral grace that was terrifying and mesmerizing all at once. "Help!" he yelled, but the truck stop was deserted, the sounds of his struggle swallowed by the night. He fought back, grabbing a bottle he tossed on the floor and smashing it into the side of her head. She screeched, a primal sound that rattled the truck, and it barely fazed her. With surprising agility, she flipped him over the seats, and in that moment, Jack saw them, other shadows slithering just beyond the light, indistinct forms lurking at the edge of clarity, faces twisting, the distorted reflection of lost souls. The lot lizards who had once roamed the stop now turned to something else, something hungry. He scrambled toward the door, heart pounding, but she was quick, darting in front of him, blocking his escape. The horror settled around him, thick and suffocating, a nightmare drawn from the depths of the truck stop's very essence. In a flash of desperation, he reached for the horn, fingers fumbling until it blared harshly, cutting through the thick tension like a knife. The echoes rang into the night, and for a brief moment, the creatures hesitated, drawn temporarily into their realm of shadows. Taking his chance, Jack barreled through her, shoving her aside, feeling her claws slice through his shirt as he broke through into the open air. He ran, heart racing, the laughter of the creatures haunting him as he sprinted across the cracked pavement toward the nearest building. He slammed against the door, praying it was unlocked, praying for safety. Inside, the diner felt like sanctuary. Bright lights washed over him, workers startled by his entrance. Help, please, he gasped, glancing back through the glass. The darkness outside shifted, rippling as though the shadows themselves yearned to breach the warmth of the diner. In the haunting reflection of that glass, he saw Lacey lurking just beyond the light. The shadows coiled around her like a cloak. Her eyes burned bright and wild with hunger, promising unspeakable horrors and acts of love. Get away from the windows, a voice commanded, pulling him from his paralysis. Jack turned, finding himself surrounded by startled patrons and an older waitress who seemed entirely too calm. The lizards come out at night, she said, her voice low but steady. You shouldn't have been out there looking for them. As they bolted the door and the world outside faded into shadows, Jack's mind raced. He felt the weight of fear and confusion settle in his chest. The truck stop wasn't just a stop along the highway. It was a gateway, a grim intersection between the everyday and the eldritch. And for every trucker that pulled in, for every lonely soul looking for warmth of night, there waited Lacey and her kind lingering in the shadows, ready to feast or violate the truckers with their tails. Through the small open window, Jack watched as the shadows merged in the darkness again. He could feel it, the dread of the road, the unending pull of the eerie, beckoning. He vowed never to stop here again, but deep down he knew that the lure of the open highway would tempt him back again. It was only a matter of time before he would face Lacey, that horror again. Brennan Harris, how are you, buddy? Silver Fox. I love the lot lizard stories, man. Someone, Leah sent me a lot lizard t-shirt. I shared it with you guys in a video thanking her, but it says it's got a tractor trailer, right? And it says, I dumped my load in a lot lizard. But I think I'm so glad that our live stream has experiences to be shared, and the $20 is $20 thing is fucking great. The lot lizard thing is amazing. It's just our thing. George, thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. The pink tank top. I gotta unbury that. I wish I had that on right now. What's up, No Merc? How are you? Oh shit. Hang on a second. Oh, I'm doing it. My body hurts so bad. I got to do the slow ball shake. Oh, there we go. That's better. That's better. Okay. All right. This is not a lot lizard story, but it is a reptilian experience. This is a Russian reptilian experience. 32-year-old Mariah, I don't even, 32-year-old Russian lady name, was found barely alive, naked and injured on the highway outside of St. Petersburg. She was taken to a hospital where it was found she had numerous cuts, bruises, and injuries. After an initial investigation, local militia came to the conclusion that she had been the R word. There was a strange detail present. The lower part of her body was covered in an unknown substance resembling frog spawn. When she regained consciousness, she reported that she had been staying with friends at a country cottage when one day she decided to take the motorboat into the Bay of Finland. She wanted to look at an island, which had the ruins of the former Finnish glass plant abandoned in 1939. Suddenly, a dense cloud covered the sky. She looked up and saw a huge disc-shaped craft. She felt paralyzed with fear, unable to move. As the huge flying craft hovered above her, she lost consciousness. She does not recall how long she had been unconscious, but awoke feeling terrible and cold and fearful. She opened her eyes and found herself lying on a metallic table, nude. She was not tied and was able to move, but soon noticed bizarre creatures leaning over her. The creatures were lizard-like with huge eyes. She saw many shiny instruments around her, and 3 or 4 lights shone above her. Suddenly, she felt the creature climb over her, touching her. She felt like screaming, but her throat would not obey. She felt everything, but soon lost consciousness. She regained consciousness in the hospital, 200 kilometers away from where she was originally seen or had been. Her boat was found on that island. The mucus substance proved difficult to wash away from her body. This is a Great Britain reptilian experience. So for all of you Brits, my brothers and sisters from across the pond, tick tick cheerio, let's have some spotted dick and some cucumber sandwiches. Spotted dick. Oh, cold fucking tea. Ugh. The following is unedited report from Great Britain. I awoke one night in a state of which I can only explain as a spasm. My body was in a rigid state. I could not move a muscle and felt like something was on top of me. I fought to get movement back in my body. I could not turn my head or move at all. It was like I was having to fight to get control of my body. After a few panic-stricken moments, I could barely move my fingers, only but a little bit. I then felt that there was more than just a spasm. I felt dirty. It was a horrible feeling from deep inside. I could barely move my toes, again, very slightly. My throat felt like it was being held. I could feel something on top of me. My hands were by my side, but it felt like they were all around me, holding my throat tightly. I was using all of my might to break free from this spasmodic state. Then I could feel something breathing, the sound of a growl-like noise right next to my ear. I struggled to move my head to the left, like breaking free from a stranglehold. I could barely see the outline of a head, a large, long head next to my own. As the spasm-like feeling started to wear off, a tiny bit at a time, I could work out that this thing was staring at me. It looked lizard or newt-like. It was like a blend together, or maybe invisible. I'm not sure. It seemed to go in and out. I am not very sure which, but I could see it clearly, and then seconds passed and it was gone. It was reptilian. I growled at it, or I think I did. My mind and my body gave all I could do. I bared my teeth at it. I could feel it reading my mind. I was swearing at it and shouting all sorts of obscenities towards it. I felt violated. The next thing, it was quickly off of me and was standing to one side, bottom of my bunk bed. The light came through the tiny gap of curtains. There was a different shade of golden light which also had very small particles inside, like dust or small stars that moved around. This reptilian creature was 6 to 7 feet in height. I could sense it was either proud or happy of itself, maybe both. I tried to sit up as best as I could, and through my mind, I swore at it again. The creature walked forward and stepped into a light beam. As it did, the feet and legs vanished into the light. The more the creature moved forward towards the window, the more it vanished. After it was gone, I relaxed, but I could still feel where it held my throat. I awoke to a bright sunny day. I could hear my mom downstairs washing up and doing housework. I lie in my bed, not moving a muscle. I ran through this incident in my mind again, and yes, this creature had held my throat. I know this happened. My mind, my heart, my soul knows it happened. For the life of me, I could not run downstairs and explain to my mom about this. Who would believe me? How would my parents have handled such a thing? I don't know what to do. Since that night, my stepdad passed away. I asked my mom if she believed in aliens or UFOs. She replied that my stepdad said that he had once seen a UFO near Brighton while at sea in the 60s. He swore that it was a UFO, but only told my mom of this. I never told my mom about my experience, as I thought it would be too harrowing for her to handle. What do I do about my experience? I would love to do something about it. It may help somebody, as I am being very honest. Things like this should be disclosed. An answer has to be found on these things and why they happen. Libra Poet, what's up, dearie? How are you? What's up, Israel? Jeremiah Israel, how are you, my brother? Libra Poet. Oh, now I'm fucking hot. All right, let's see if I gained any of the temp. I was 107 last time, or 100.7. Temperature went down. It looks like it. Hang on, let me restart it and clear it out. $99.6, so it went down a whole degree. Yay! Hi, Libra Poet. How are you? Say hi to me. $104, Brian? Damn. I was 100.4 when I started, and then I went to 100.7. Yeah, LBL has things that happen. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, I did say a prayer. I did say a prayer after I blew the death whistle. Yupper doodle. What's up, gringo? How are you, buddy? Oh. Yeah, I forget what prayer I said. I don't know. I got this interesting little file here. Ba, ba, ba. Hang on. So when I went to the Conjuring house, I printed up a whole bunch of prayers, and I did a cleansing prayer. which is a fairly easy prayer. Just says, Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, by the power of the Holy Spirit, we pray that the cleansing power of thy precious blood of your Son come upon us right now. Purify us and wash us clean with the blood of Jesus from the top of our heads down to the very soles of our feet. Let this blood penetrate the very marrow of our bone to cleanse us from any entanglement, from whatever evil spirits we have come in contact with during the course of our intercession. Anoint us with the gifts of the Holy Spirit and refresh our body, soul, and spirit. And may the sign of your holy cross drive away all evil spirits from us. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. It's a good poem. Libra, why haven't you said fucking hi to me? Hi. That's a good prayer, though. I like that. It's like, it's not long, but it has, like, it says everything that needs to be said. Just bam. Ow. Sonya just getting blocked. Block Sonya. Just kidding, Sonya. Really, I did not know that. Christ comes from the Greek word Christos, anoint. No kidding. That's crazy. Huh. Huh. Yeah, his real name is, well, Jeff, tell me a joke. I got no jokes. His real name is Big Dog. That's what I call him. Big Dog. I'm like, Big Dog, help me out of this, please. And he always helps me out. He's like, I got you, little dog. I'm like, thank you. Thank you, Jesus. I love you. And he says, no problem, little dog. What's green and smells like bacon? My aunt's farts. Oh my God, Kermit's finger. What the fuck? Oh my God. That just like got me good. That was great. All right. Last encounter of the night, kids. I saw a tall, pale-skinned being in my grandparents' yard in Willow Creek, California in 1994. I had my grandparents, my dad's father and stepmother, who lived in Willow Creek until their respective passing in early 2000. Before then, my dad's sister and I would visit at least once or twice in the summer and sometimes for Thanksgiving and Christmas. We lived in San Jose at the time, which was an 8-hour drive. We loved going to hike in the surrounding forests and playing in the Trinity River. We grew up hearing about Bigfoot. The famous Patterson video was shot in the area, and the town is Bigfoot tourist heavy. But we were taught to watch out for the real pumas and bears. I need to explain a bit about my grandparents' house was laid out for the aspects of this. They had a small 2-bedroom, 1-bath house set in the corner of 2 streets. The road into the neighborhood ran off the main road along the backyard, and house ran along the other road off of that road. Several houses ran on each side of the street, and the house sat behind theirs. Chain link fence, 6 feet tall, went around their backyard and most neighbors' yards instead of solid wood fencing. so you could see into the others' yards. From the street and their house, it slopes down into a backyard and the neighbor's yard by roughly 10 feet in total. Their backyard is mostly just grass and weeds, with a small semi grown garden near the neighbor's fence line and a big tree, maybe an oak, I think, next to it, partially over a solarium. They had a raised deck running the length of the back of their house with stairs down the yard. Um, at the end of the solarium off the kitchen. Inside the house, the kitchen and dining room are immediately next to each other, yada yada. At the back of the thing, grandparents, of course, had a master. Why are we learning about their fucking house? I don't want to know about their house. The story takes place in mid-August of 94. So you just wasted my whole fucking night telling me about your grandparents. You gonna tell me what toilet paper they use? Now, on to the encounter. The encounter took place in mid-August of 94. One last summer trip before school started in a couple of weeks at the request of my sister for her 9th birthday. I was 11 at the time. We left early to get there before dinner so Dad could nap from the drive a bit while me and my sister went down to the portion of Trinity that we could play in. That night, we went to sleep in the solarium, as was the custom of our summer trips. At some point in the night, I woke up, no real reason, not even to go to the bathroom. I just have always done that from time to time, even still. I did what I usually do. I stared up at the stars and the moon, around half visible. Couldn't tell you if it was a waxing or waning. All of a sudden, I got this intense feeling of dread that skipped, fight or flight, and went right to straight freeze, you're dead. After some time, mostly like a minute or two, I turned my head to the side to look into the yard. I had to turn to my side and lift myself up a bit to get a better look. But the source of my feeling was impossible to miss. Standing at the bottom of the yard next to the neighbor's fence line stood a tall, skinny creature with skin the color of the moon. It had no hair on its head or anywhere else for that matter. Its eyes were a shiny white with a reflective quality, but not bright like a bright light was shining right at them. Just moonlight. Its face had human features, but seemed squished and flatter. Its arms were very long, but that could have been just because of how tall it was. The chain link fence came up to its armpits, so this thing was at least 8 feet tall. Not enough to just step over the fence, but I didn't hear it climb over unless it had been in the yard before I woke up. It was looking right at me. I got scared and ducked down into my sleeping bag as far as I could. My sister was always a heavy sleeper, and I did not want to wake her up in any way. Next thing I hear heavy footsteps on the deck coming toward the solarium. There's a wooden door with a screened window on the top of it, not opened at the time as far as I can remember. All was quiet for a while. So I peeked through the small flap of the sleeping bag. Through one of the bottom windows of the solarium next to the door, I saw its pale, large feet. The skin was rough and its toes were gnarled. I curled up, trying not to make a sound or move much. The bag was getting stuffy. Next thing I know, my dad is gently moving me with his foot, asking if I was cold because I was still huddled down into my bag. I looked around disoriented. There was no evidence of that creature from the night before. No marks or footprints or fence bending. My dad was a huge skeptic of anything paranormal, cryptid, or otherworldly, but I did tell him. He, of course, blew it off as a dream. Sis, being a deep sleeper, didn't notice a thing. I asked my grandparents if they heard or felt the thumping on the deck, which would have been along their bedroom wall. Nope. Both seemed weirded out by my story, and my grandma later privately told me there's a lot of strange things out there. That's why we avoid going out at night. She wouldn't elaborate, though. It's obviously not a classic Bigfoot, but I don't know what it was. Anyway, I wanted to ask someone from the Hopa Native American tribe up here, but I haven't yet. I've never seen a thing like this since, although I have experienced plenty of paranormal things. Thanks. Oh. All right, guys, thank you for spending Saturday night with me. It was a blast. I appreciate it. we have next Saturday, and then on the 16th, I did say I'm trying to behave myself from past history on here. Libra, make sure you're on the 16th, Monday. I'm 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. I'm going to come on for an hour. It's my birthday. I'm going to do an hour show. I want to spend a little time with you guys. No, I didn't. I didn't interview him. He's been interviewed by everybody on YouTube, so I didn't feel the need to. That's why. So, but I want to spend an hour with you guys. I'm gonna share. I'm gonna like get a bunch of experiences together. Put a bunch of lot lizard experiences together. Maybe I'll do it outside. Maybe I'll do it from my phone in the woods or some shit. I don't know. But anyway, I just want to spend the an hour with you guys on my birthday. So I think that'll be fun. Anyway, with that, I want to thank you all once again. You guys make my Saturdays special. I have no life. This channel is my life. You guys are my fucking family. So blessings to you all. And let's say a silent prayer really quick for dude from Texas. You will be missed, my friend. You will be missed. It was sad not seeing his name in the fucking comments tonight, you know? He's like the fourth person that I know have passed away since I started this channel, and it sucks. So anyway, bless you all. Love you guys.